So let's begin. Today, this is the first day of the class. I'm going to talk about the syllabus, the requirements for the course. Yes, I know, at least I think it's very boring work, but it has to be done because I want you to know the terms of the course and what we're going to be doing, and then we'll start getting into things on Thursday. So look at the syllabus. If you don't have it yet, I sent out an email to everybody, but it's also posted on Canvas, so you can look at it there, and it has the schedule of readings and stuff, so you know what to start reading for Thursday. You can always read ahead, okay? But certainly you want to start, get ahead for Thursday. So this is Christian faith, all right? So hopefully, presumably you're in the right place, all right? You're in the right classroom, so I don't need to go over the details. You should know the days, and obviously know the classroom. This is my name, Dr. Matthew W.I. Dunn, and here's my email address so you can get in touch with me. I'm an adjunct, like a part-timer, so I don't really have an office. They have offices down in the other building where they have the religious studies and philosophy department, but I don't have an office per se. So if you want to meet with me, we can hook up sometime. We can make an appointment and meet sometime if you contact me by email. And because I don't have an office, I don't have any phone hookup or anything on campus, so I don't have an extension. So really, email is the only way to get in touch with me, the university email. Okay? What is the course about? I give you the course description. Actually, let me make that bigger. The course description. This course examines the features of religious faith that are common to Protestant and Catholic Christianity. Basic Christian beliefs, characteristics of adult faith development. I don't know what that means. Well, I guess I do. I guess it's how the faith develops as people grow up. That seems that you could have a whole course devoted to that, I guess. Commitment to one's Christian faith in a contemporary world are treated in an ecumenically sensitive manner. Okay, good. So that's what they have in the undergraduate catalog. I did not write that description. I don't know who did, but that's the description of the course. And then, each professor kind of tweaks what they're going to do and tweaks the course as per the description. And so I tell you in the syllabus what I'm going to do. Since this is a primarily Catholic university, or this is a Catholic university, I'm going to give a primary focus to the Roman Catholic perspective. However, I will also mention from time to time other Christian views, not just Protestant. They mention Protestants, but they forget the Eastern Orthodox, who are older than Protestants, or one of the ancient Christian churches alongside Roman Catholicism. So, like your Russian Orthodox, your Bulgarian Orthodox, Egyptian Orthodox, all that sort of stuff, those sort of churches. And even older than that, or not older than that, we have like the Assyrian Church of the East, which is not Orthodox, but comes from the 5th century. Anyways. So I will mention these things as we go through the course. So I will try to be ecumenically sensitive, as they say, and mention that there is a broader Christianity out there than just Roman Catholicism, but the primary focus is going to be Catholicism, because it is a Catholic university, and you got to choose something. I mean, Christianity is, with anything, is huge. It's a huge topic, and if you took any part of it, it's a huge topic. Whoops. Out of there. It's a huge topic. If you took just Protestantism, you got all sorts of Protestants throughout the world. It's huge. For the course, hopefully you've looked at the course information on the portal, and on the portal I put the 2 textbooks that you should purchase or should have for the course, and hopefully you have them. And there are only 2 textbooks that you're going to be reading from. I think these are the most relevant ones for a Christian faith course. First one is going to be the Bible. Booga, 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 booga. I know, this might be the first time some of you Catholics are seeing this thing called the Bible. Maybe you heard about it during confirmation class or something, But here it is. So buy it, So buy this Bible, the New American Bible, the Revised Edition, which is put out by the Catholic Bishops of the United States or under their auspices. This is the one you should be using. If you have your own Bible already that's not a Catholic Bible or something, that's fine. You can still use it, but there are going to be readings from some extra books that are in Catholic Bibles that will not be in a Protestant Bible, which you can still find online. But, so if you don't want to purchase, if you already have a Bible that you use and you're just like, I don't want to go out of my way to purchase it, fine, I can understand that. But if you, don't have this, I would recommend getting it. The second thing you will need, though, is the Catechism of the Catholic Church, the second edition. This is my copy. Yours might be a little bit different. And this just as a catechism is basically a source book of any kind of sense of belief, usually religious beliefs, but it outlines in a logical way what a certain group believes about certain things. There's nothing necessarily Christian about it. You could have a Hindu catechism, you could have a Muslim catechism, or you could just call anything really a catechism if it's just giving you, in a logical order what a group believes about something or their policies or whatever. And so the Catholic Church has one of these that came out in the 90s. It's a second edition. They did publish it again just because Pope Francis, who's the current Pope, changed one of the paragraphs on his own authority, just one. So they published a whole book, a new version of the book, and they're not calling it a third edition. So they're still calling it a second edition. So I give you the current information for that catechism. For me, this is my old second edition. I just copied and, new paragraph. I just, what did I do here? Where is it here? I just copied it and printed it out, and I just pasted it in here. So, or not pasted, but I taped it in because I'm going to buy a whole new book just for one paragraph. But if you don't have a catechism, you might as well have the most up-to-date one. And they also did retranslate some of the prayers and stuff because they had a new translation of prayers for the Catholic Mass that came out. They made it better, much better than it was before. So they did some of that, but basically nothing else was changed. But so, I want you to have the most up-to-date version. So there you go. You can find that. If you don't have it, you can find it online. Just go on Amazon and search for the ISBN number or whatever. And any and all materials that I might assign, I might put some other readings or something, maybe, on Canvas, some other readings or something I might hand out in class. Usually I'll put it on Canvas and you can find it yourself. What do I want to say? Just very quickly, I might mention this later, but very quickly, if you don't know how to use these books, just very quickly, they're just like, don't be put off by them. They're just like any other book. The Bible is just organized like any other book. Actually, it's a library of books. And, this does have it. That's interesting. If you don't know where a book is, if I say, read something from the Book of Wisdom or read something from, the Gospel of Mark, yeah, I'm right there with you, sir. Then look at the table of contents. Like any book, they have a table of contents at the beginning of the Bible where you find the book and it'll give you the page number, okay, if you're concerned about that. And it's very easy to find things in the Bible. It's organized according to chapter. So each book, you find the book, and then each book has a chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. And within the chapters, there are little numbers for what are the verses, or basically a sentence or two. Okay, so they divide it up even a little bit more. So if you want to find something very specific, like a particular statement, you can do that. So the verses are 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I say, read from the book of Exodus, chapter 15, verses 1 through 5, look in your table of contents, you find the book of Exodus, you go to the book, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, you get to chapter 15, and you look for the little numbers next to the sentences, and you say, oh, okay, verse 1 through 5, that's all I have to read. Okay? So it's pretty simple. The catechism is actually even simpler. Every paragraph of the catechism is marked with a number in order from the beginning 1 to the end, which is like 2,865. I mean, we're not going to read the whole catechism, but we will read a lot from it. And I want you to know that, because if I say in the syllabus, read from the Catechism of the Catholic Church, paragraphs 200 to 250, that does not mean you're reading 50 pages of stuff, all right? I don't want to read 50 pages of stuff, you know what I'm saying? You know, it just means you're reading the 50 paragraphs, okay? So it's not as much as it might look, okay? So don't freak out if you look at the course readings and it's like there's a whole line of readings from the catechism. It's like, oh, all these pages? No, it's the paragraphs, and there are several paragraphs per page. So you're actually reading less pages. You're not reading a ton of stuff. You might be reading a lot of paragraphs, though. On some important issues. So those are just two things I wanted to mention just up front, so that you can get started with the readings and you know what you're doing. Okay. Christian faith. Okay, as you can see there already on the PowerPoint, the course requirements are: there's one exam. There's no midterm, but there is a final exam that is cumulative. Since there's going to be one exam, you know, it's going to cover everything. It'll be probably 120 questions, no more. All right, and you'll have, I think I'm giving like 3.5 hours to do it. This is all in the syllabus too, okay? And that happens during exam week. There will be 5 quizzes. And on each quiz, you should expect 50 questions per quiz. And you have 1.5 hours on the quiz, each quiz. And that's not cumulative. The quizzes will cover only the material that's covered in class or required from class to class, okay? So it's not like each quiz is going to get like more and more information, like it's going to be quiz 5, I'll be like quizzing you and stuff from the first week of class. No, it'll be from each, do you understand, from each class to class, okay? The quizzes are not cumulative. There'll be one brief paper, so I don't want to read a lot of paper, but you know, I think you got to do some writing of some sort. Got to earn my bones in some way. So there won't be brief paper, and that's outlined in the syllabus as well. I'll mention that later in the course. And then there will be one discussion board. And for each of these, I'll have you address a question, or you watch some video or something and comment on it or whatever. Okay, that'll be coming up. I'll put that information on Canvas. And for each of these things, and there's class participation. It's part of the grade, just being active in the class, trying to be as active as possible in the class. And that's also explained later below in the syllabus. And you see the weighted totals for each one. The final exam has the most total, then the quizzes, all right, and then the paper and the class participation. The discussion board is only 10%. All right, so you see how things are going to be. You should do I would expect you to do all of these things, okay? I understand, because I was a student myself for a long, long time, and there can be a certain kind of calculus that you might work that, if I do only these things and I do that, I can still work out that I get a C and whatever. Okay, fine. If you want to do that, that's your prerogative. You do what you want to do. But I am requiring that you do at least one of each of these. And since there's only one for the final exam, the paper and the discussion board, you have to do them. But for the quizzes, if you only want to do one of the quizzes and none of the other ones, fine. Just take the hit on your grade. Okay, whatever. But you have to do at least one. You have to do at least one item from each of the grading elements. You're not going to get away with saying, well, I won't do the paper or the discussion board. I'll just put all my eggs in the baskets of the final exam and the quiz, and maybe participate a little bit in class, and I'll get by. No, you have to do at least one from each one. Here's the grade scale, which I guess is standard because I got it from a sample syllabus that was sent to me by the head of the department, so I'm going to assume that this is what's generally being used across campus. So you can see that there's nothing, I don't think there's anything more to say about that. Testing and assignments. I've already gone over the testing somewhat. What should you expect on the tests? The tests are mainly designed to test your comprehension and understanding, or I should say understanding, more the comprehension of the data that you're receiving in the course. All right, so definitions of terms, names of people I might mention, or of councils, or stuff like that. And, to make sure that you're paying attention. There's a lot of information that's going to be covered in the course, okay? I don't care if you went to Catholic school for 12 years. There's a lot of information even you are not going to be aware of, and it's going to be brand new to you, and it might even shock you. And if you're not a Christian, probably even more so, unless you've done a lot of reading on Christianity. So just to be aware of that, okay? Just don't think, it's like going to be like, well, I went to Catholic school, or I did CCD, and I go to Mass every now and then. Well, I'm just going by the statistics. That this is going to be a breeze, and I know the Christian faith, and I know Jesus, and I basically know the plot. I know what happens in the end. It's a good ending, like a Hollywood movie. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Maybe that will get you through some of it, but it's not going to get you through all of it. I can guarantee you. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's very unfamiliar to you. And some of the things you might assume about your Christian faith, you might find out are maybe not exactly, I want to say correct, but, there might have been little things that were passed on, from your family or your parish priest, and maybe weren't as accurate as they could be. So don't be surprised by that. So that's what I'm doing so don't be, don't take the quizzes lightly, I guess is my message. There's a lot of information, so you're going to have to learn a lot of things. I'm going to test you on the class lectures, what I'm talking about in class. I'll test you on the readings, any educational aids like the PowerPoint slides. I think you have a right to those because I'm going to be using PowerPoints in every class, and so you need them to study from. In fact, easiest thing in the world would be to just print out the PowerPoint and use that to take your notes on right there. It would save you some time than trying to sit here in class writing down the PowerPoint slides and copying them. And I believe I have those on Canvas for you. All right, I already told you about how many questions, what kind of questions. Some people do ask that. They get concerned, like, well, okay, and mostly be multiple choice, true, false, matching. Very rarely will I do fill-ins or essays. Probably almost never will I do an essay question. Just because they're more complicated, and I don't want to add complications to a quiz. I want it to just be easy for you to take and to be graded and be done with it. Okay, so mostly multiple choice and true, false, and matching and stuff like that. Okay. Make sure that, when you take the test, that you take it on the proper device, on a computer or your laptop or something like that. But please don't try to take it on your cell phone because it might not work well with Canvas. Canvas is not, in my opinion, a very well-constructed technology. But, so it might not always work well with, Safari or something if you're using an iPhone or, whatever browser. So if, don't expect me to, send me an email and say, okay, Dr. Dunn, I was on, the test and the quiz, and it closed the window on me and submitted the quiz, and now what do I do? Can you restart the test? Okay, I probably will, but there will be consequences for that. There will be deductions from that because you've already seen the test. I mean, you've gotten a benefit that other students didn't, who had no problems. You've gotten to see at least one of the questions that was on the test. So there will be deductions for that. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But if it does happen, in this section, let's be clear about online testing. I tell you what will happen if you have a problem and I have to restart the quiz for you, restart a test for you, like the final exam. So that never happens for the final exam because the final exam is very important. It took me some time, because it can be confusing. Some people are on their computer, even if you're using your computer properly, and I get an email saying, "Oh, Dr. Dunn, I clicked on the tab or I closed the tab, and it submitted the test." And so, okay, it took me a little while though to kind of wonder to myself, why are they clicking on tabs at the top? why are they even looking at other tabs? You just have the one tab open on your browser and you're doing the quiz. Why are you opening other tabs? What are you looking for? You know what I'm saying? So it makes me a little suspicious if people are opening up other tabs and then you make a mistake and by accident you click off the tab for the quiz. So try not to do that, please. That's another reason why there is a deduction, because you don't always know what people are. I'm not going to be there watching you, so I'm assuming you're not clicking around the internet trying to find the answer. Not that anyone would do that. Not saying anyone would do that. But, you never know. Okay, so okay, you have the dates for the quizzes so you can make your schedule. Basically on a Friday every few weeks, like every 2 weeks or so, at 6 p.m. in the evening, I'll post the quiz, and you'll have a week to take it. So you have a week to take it. That's another reason why there's a deduction, because it's not like it's a one-time thing. You've got plenty of time, I think, to take the quiz. Don't waste it, okay? I don't know what your schedules are, so some of you might work or have family issues or whatever. That's fine. I understand that if you have to push it off during a week. But I would recommend trying to get it done as soon as possible, just on the off chance there is a problem and you need some extra days. So basically you have a week to get it done, from Friday to Friday. And as I already told you, you have an hour and 30 minutes to do it. The time frame is that. And once the hour and 30 minutes is up, it's, the quiz will stop, and wherever you are in the quiz, it'll submit it. Okay? Here's the date for the final exam. It's during final exam week. So you do not have to come to class. It's administered online. That's basically our class for that week, okay? The time that you're spending on your computer taking the final exam. So you have 3.5 hours. You have, again, the whole exam time period. So, try and get it done, I would say, earlier than later in case there's a problem, because I will not extend it beyond the final exam period. There's just too little time to submit grades and everything. So, once the last day of the period, which is that Saturday, once that, the time happens, it's over. I'm releasing the answers, and once the answers are out, then all bets are off. No one's going to be able to take the test because the answers are out there. Okay, for the assignments are different from the tests. Whereas the tests are more informational, the assignments are comprehensional. I want to see how you're thinking in the course. And so for the paper and for the discussion board, there will be a question or questions that I'll ask you. On what I don't necessarily know yet. I tend to change things up. I don't necessarily want to ask the same questions for every class over and over again. So, just keep an eye on Canvas when I'll submit the question. But, maybe something like, we talked about the Trinity in class, or, explain what the Christian conception of God is, what makes sense to you about it, what doesn't make sense to you about it, et cetera, and so forth. So that might be, and you might say write a paper on that. So you write a paper, or a discussion board, post a thread on a discussion board telling your views on that. That might be an assignment or something I might do. Not saying I will do it, something I might do. All of the assignments are done on Canvas, so you submit a document file, a Word document file for the paper to Canvas, and the discussion board will be on Canvas, and you post a thread and your responses on Canvas. This is the date when the paper is due, and sometime in October, early October. So you've got that date there. And it's at least 800 words. And for those who write more than 800 words, I add on a few points to your grade to benefit you. If you do not give me even the minimum of 800 words, then you lose significant points from your grade. And I want you to put at least just your name, the class, and the paper on it so I know who it is, in case there's a question of whose is this? It should tell me in Canvas. But, sometimes, if you have people handing in papers and you just get a paper and there's no name or nothing on it, and I don't know which, okay? But just, I give you how I want it, for example, how I want it, and I'm giving it to you. All you have to do is maybe copy and paste it into your paper and then change the information to your name. Okay, in this case, it says encountering sacred writings, which is another course. All right, it's not Christian faith, but just for example, be surprised how many people don't do that. Okay, fine, but you'll lose points because I'm showing you right here what I want. So that's for the paper. The discussion board. Again, I'll give you a question of some kind, maybe a video to watch or something like that, and ask you to comment on it. You'll write one thread for the discussion board, and you'll reply to 2 other threads from different students. It's simple. So you'll have to write 3 different things. And there's no word count because you're showing me what you understand and how much you want to give me and how much you want to respond to other students. You want to take the time to even respond to them. That, you're showing me, all right? And that will affect your grade, obviously. If you write a lot and you write good and you give a lot of examples and you refer to the class, you probably get a good grade. If you respond to other students and you actually respond to them and don't just say, yeah, John, that's a really good point. I agree with you. Which is really not saying anything. It's telling me about you. It's telling me you agree with the person, not telling me what the person said or why you agree with them, why you thought they were right or whatever, or made a good point. Then you're not going to get so good a grade on something like that. But that's what we're going to do for the discussion board. And you can see when that's due later in November. Class participation, you can just sit here for the course. You can participate a little bit, you can participate a lot, okay? You don't have to participate necessarily every class, but, I do expect some kind of participation. If you want to do a reading for the class or something like that, read something off the PowerPoint, or you want a question or have a discussion or something, then that's fine, okay? But if you don't, then okay, that's fine too. You're an adult, you can make that decision. But it's going to affect your class participation grade if you're not showing that you're actively engaged in the course. It's even worse if you're on your computer doing other stuff, which I'll talk about in a minute. First class attendance. Okay, you should be here, and so I have to take attendance. This has legalities attached to it as well because people get financial aid and stuff like that, and the government wants to know that people are actually showing up to class. I guess there are some scams where people take the money and then they never show up. So they want to make sure that the registrar wants to make sure that people are actually who are registered for the course are actually showing up. It could be, like I mentioned, a scam, but it could also be that there's a problem with the person and they want to be aware of the issue and help the person out. So I will take attendance, and attendance affects other parts of the course. It affects your class participation because if you're not here, then you can't participate. If you're not here, you're not doing the work of the course, which is to come here and learn and think and gather information. It's your job for now. Even if you have a real job, it's your other job, and that's how I'm treating it. So I expect you to be here, If you're here, and I give you here in the syllabus how I will mark you. If you're here, then when I take attendance, then you're present. If you're not here, then you'll be absent. And if you come to class after I take attendance and start the class, then you'll be late. How will that affect your grade for the course? Because I don't excuse anything. I want to be clear about that. Except in limited cases, they're very clear in limited cases, absences are not excused. That doesn't mean that a person might have to happen, that you have to be absent, okay? I'm flexible on it, but I have to say that because I don't want people to think that they can just be absent if they decide to. I want the people to have that kind of sense that they need to be here. All right. So if you're absent from more than 4 class meetings, you will receive a deduction of 5 points from your final grade for each and every absent beyond those 4. So 4 meetings amounts to about 2 weeks of the course. So, for 4 meetings, I don't care. I mean, not that I don't care, but there's no penalty, there's no deduction, there's nothing. I'm not going to do anything. If you want to tell me why you're absent, that's great. But beyond those 4, then I'm going to care. and you're going to start losing. It's going to start affecting your final grade. If you still want to send me an email, if there are issues beyond your control, beyond those scores, send me an email. That's fine, and I can take that into consideration, and I probably will at the end of the term. But I'm not promising that, okay? Because I don't want people to think, I'll send them an email, and then it's okay. He has to accept it. No. See above. No absence is excused. I don't have to accept it, but I might accept it. Okay, if there's a serious issue, If you're absent for 8 class meetings, regardless of anything, you fail the course, and this is regardless of anything. You send me an email or something. I'm just, 8 class meetings is essentially a month of the course. So, there's no leeway on that at all. And you'd be surprised how many actually people put me in that position where they miss so many classes. But it's 8 class meetings. So you just, regardless of what you've done in the course up until that, if you miss 8 class meetings, you get an automatic F because you missed like a third of the course. Now, if you're late or you leave early from class, which is kind of the same thing but in reverse, for more than 7 class meetings, then there's a deduction of 2 points for each and every instance of lateness. So I think 7 is a good number. It's enough. I think that's flexible enough because people will need to be late. I accept that. So 7 times, nothing will happen to your grade. But after that, I will start being concerned about it. Now, these are the exceptions. There are no, absences are not excused. But if you have a disability, if you are a student athlete, if you are a military person, or if you are a religious person, then these have to be excused. So if you have an accommodation that requires you, you have to go for cancer treatments or something, or dialysis or something, and that's, obviously, you need to get an accommodation letter for yourself so that that will not affect you. Student athletes, when you're going to be participating in a scheduled game, that's excused. Practices are not, however, and there's a form that student athletes are supposed to give me, which I almost never see, so I don't. But anyways, I give you down here in the footnote. I give you the at the website. What's on the other page? Footnote 10, the university's website. You go to there. There it is. Win It Athletics. So if you're an athlete and you need to be absent, you have to fill out a certain form and give that to the professor or file it with the athletic department, I think. If you're going to be deployed or you're going to have to miss for a military obligation for 2 weeks or less, then that's excused. But if it's going to be more than 2 weeks, then apparently it's not, at least according to the stuff that I read in the catalog, the student catalog, undergraduate catalog. You have to talk to, what do you have to talk to? Put it here in the syllabus. So all sorts of policies and things. Then you have to talk to this registrar because you might have to drop out if it's going to be a significant deployment or something, and you just can't really show up. And if you have a major religious holiday that you have to observe, it's like a requirement of your religion, and you can't be here for class, then obviously I will excuse that as well. Okay, so I give you more information. God bless you. That you can read if any of these conditions applies to you, and you're always welcome to send me an email, even just to let me know what's going on about an absence or if you're going to be late or something, because I can take that into account at the end of the semester. But send me an email, please, because if you talk to me, I probably won't remember it. Class participation I mentioned already, so I give you more details on what participation means. Okay, and I give you the grade range for how I'll be looking, what I'm looking for when I do class participation. It's not just, well, I showed up to class and that's class participation. Okay, being here, that's part of it. I took notes. That's part of it. Okay, fine. That's good. But it's also, did you have the books and materials? Did you ask questions? Did you interact with me or at all? Or did you just sit there and not do anything? So that's what I'm looking for. So I give you an idea of what I'm looking for and the range that I'll give you. So, someone might, be in the B range where their participation was pretty good or very good, but they had maybe some lapses. They could have done more, so they might get an 85 in that range, like in the middle, depending on my subjective judgment, stuff like that. And of course, if you're not here, then you can't participate, so that will affect my judgment about, how you did, because there's nothing to judge if you're absent or you're late, for the class. So I give you, again, pretty much the same standard as for absences. If you're above that, if you're absent, then, let's show you how much I'm going to reduce the number grade. So that student who had a B, a hypothetical student who had a B in 85, let's say that student was absent for 5 class meetings as well. Then the 85 will go down a number grade, it will go to an 80. And if they were late more than 7 class meetings, then for each lateness beyond that, there would again be a reduction in number grade. So I just have to let you know I know it's boring and mind-numbing, but I have to let you know all this information. So, because it's like a contract, you need to know all the nitty-gritty, as they say, of how I'm going to go through these things. So you don't think I'm just sitting there by my lonesome thinking, how do I want to grade this person? Well, do I like him? Do I like her? Are they nice to me? They bring me an apple? No, F. Or actually, C+, C+. That's, anyways. Active ignoring. Active ignoring just simply means that you're on your phone, you're on your computer. I allow you to bring computers to the classroom because, you can use them to take notes and stuff like that. You can use them to look at the PowerPoints and maybe look at something on the internet that I might have you look at or whatever. But that's it. Cats are funny creatures, I know. I have one at home, and she runs the house. But, try to avoid looking at funny cat videos or funny dog videos or go on gambling videos, gambling stuff. I understand the classes can be boring at times. I understand. I'm in the thick of it too. There are times when, I'm like, okay, I just got to get through this. Usually I find it very interesting. I'm excited about it. But, you can always have an off day. So I understand there's that temptation. I can't block your internet, so that's just, you just have to control yourself. And I'm not going to tell you, this is your one and only warning, and I put this in the syllabus, that this is in the syllabus, it's your one and only warning. If I see people who I don't think are listening to me, or I actually see that, you're on the computer, on the internet, watching stuff or not listening to me, or sometimes people take out books for other classes and they're there working on other class. And apparently they don't care that I see them. All right, fine. All right. Or you're on your phone or something, or I see you texting. I might say something. I might call it out and ask you to please not do it, but I might not. I might just make a note of it. And if it happens enough, try to be flexible because I understand, it happens, But if it happens enough, then I'll say that that's actively ignoring me, and I'll make a little note of it, and that will affect. That will affect your grade. How will it affect your grade? What do I say here? I can tell you what it is. Yes, it'll affect your class participation grade by dropping it a grade. So again, our hypothetical student who had a possible B in class participation would then have a C for each and every occurrence if he did it once, let's say. And I more than once, and then I caught him again and decided to count it. Okay? So just be aware of that. Due dates, times, and warnings. Try to get the things in on time, basically. But just so you know, there will be a 5% deduction for every day that something is late. You'll still be able to put it in on Canvas. You'll still be able to upload your file or whatever, but Canvas will automatically mark it late by how many days or part of a day that you handed in late. So try to be aware of the due dates that I give you in the syllabus, and be proactive with addressing these things, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know that, we might get hit by, a coronal mass ejection and all the satellites go out. You know what I'm saying? It's the apocalypse, Jesus is coming back, baby. He's taking names and kicking butt. Coming with a flaming sword in his hand on a white horse. Where's that Kalki? I forget my religions. I don't know. Some days I'm a Hindu, some days I'm a Christian. You never know. I do love a God with 6 arms, though. Isn't that cool? Anyways, but you don't know. The power could go or whatever, and your computer could suddenly crash and whatever, and you can't complete. And again, if you want to tell me that there's a problem, good. Tell me as soon as possible so we can address it. But try to be proactive about, again, not waiting till the last minute to get stuff done. Okay, I already told you about lateness for assignments, so we can pass that. And here, okay, so what are we going to talk about for the course? All right, so I would recommend that you print out, just go through your syllabus with a highlighter, highlight these dates, make yourself, download a calendar off the internet and fill in these dates on a calendar. I mean, if you don't want to read everything that's in the syllabus, because most people don't seem to, I wish you would, because then people wouldn't be surprised if something actually happens and they find out, wait, why did I get X amount of points off for this? And they didn't read it in the syllabus. They did something. They didn't read it in the syllabus. But take the major stuff like the due dates and stuff and put them on the calendar so you have it personally with you, so you know what's coming up. You won't be surprised. And print this out as well so you know what you're supposed to be doing each week. So next, on Thursday, we're going to be starting out with just a brief intro talking about Jesus Christ, because it is Christianity. It is the Christian faith, the faith of the Messiah, who Christians believe is Jesus of Nazareth. So we'll start talking about him. So start reading the Gospel of Mark. Yes, the whole thing, 16 chapters long. It's the shortest of the Gospels or the stories of the ministry, not the life of Jesus. We don't have a life of Jesus, but we have of his ministry, which was for a short period of time, written down, and only some things of that ministry. We don't have the whole ministry, but some of the details of what he did and said and what happened to him in the Gospel of Mark. So we'll start with that one, and we'll find, you'll find out why that's important as we progress in the course. You'll find out more about the Gospel of Mark. So I would start reading that in your Bibles. As I said, it's not very long. So it's 16 chapters, relatively short chapters. So take a look at that. And obviously, if you can't finish it by Thursday, okay, it's not the end of the world, but, try to. And so, see, and all the readings are basically coming from the Catechism and the Bible, all right? I don't see any reason to put any more burden on you than that. And this is how the course will go. We'll talk first about the essence of Christianity, which is belief in Jesus of Nazareth and what that means. And then we'll talk about, well, what are our sources of authority? What is Christian faith based on, other than Jesus? But you know what? I don't think any of us was around when Jesus was around 2,000 years ago, unless I haven't met anybody yet. I wasn't there. The Pope wasn't there. I don't think you were there. If you were there, we should talk, because you should be taking some kind of medication or something. But, none of us was physically present back when Jesus was alive. So what's our authority for even believing about him? Where do we start from? Then I'll talk about his ministry and teachings. What did Jesus do and what did Jesus say about himself, about his followers? What did his followers come to believe about him? So we get into who was Jesus of Nazareth, not just what he did. We'll talk about the sacred scriptures, the Bible, which is essential. That's one of the sources of authority that we have. and our best information about Jesus of Nazareth. So we'll talk about the Bible, where it came from, what is its position and for Christians. We'll talk about the church, the community of Christians, which actually pre-exists even the Bible. The Bible didn't come from nowhere. It came from a community. I mean, first it came from the Jews. You know, there were Jews before there were any Jewish writings. Anyone wrote stuff down. And the same thing with Christianity. There were people who were talking about Jesus, worshiping Jesus, doing all sorts of things Jesus-related before there was a New Testament or Christian writings. So the church is very important to talk about the community. God, what do Christians believe about God? Okay, because Jesus changes everything about how people, even the Jews, believe about God. It's one of the reasons most Jews don't believe in Jesus. They believe he was a false Messiah because his teachings on God, they don't accept them. But Christians do. We'll talk about the Blessed Virgin Mary, the mother of Christ, who is also very important to Christianity, and the saints, holy people, which ties into how Christians are supposed to live their lives in holiness. And then finally, we'll talk about the way that Christians achieve holiness, which is primarily through participation in God's life, his love, which is given to us through 7 things called sacraments. It's not the only way, but it's some of the main ways that Christians receive God's love. And then the final exam. Right, so that's what's going on with the course. All right. So that's really a very important part of the syllabus. After that, I'm just giving you basic information that you should know. Don't cheat, don't plagiarize, which is also a form of cheating in a way, meaning don't copy other people's work. This includes, artificial intelligence, which is, very hard to detect. So whatever. But I'm not there, so I can't see what you're doing. But sometimes you can tell from when people know a little bit more than they probably should know. Like someone who. You're here at university getting a bachelor's degree, and you're all of a sudden you're writing in your paper stuff that even I'm like, with a PhD, I'm like, I didn't know that. Now, I could just be really dumb, PH dumb, which is, not surprising, could happen, but probably doesn't happen. It makes me a little suspicious when stuff like that happens. People start using language or stuff talking about things that they probably shouldn't have a lot of knowledge of. So you can even see that even with artificial intelligence, that can come up. And anyways, your stuff will be checked by Turnitin, so that does pick up stuff. Anyway, so just do your own work, which I think is really simpler. Than it takes less time to just do the work and just spit it out and hand it in than to waste the time doing research, in a sense, trying to find other people's work that you can then cut and paste and just do it yourself, But anyways, people think they're saving time, I think, but maybe not so much. So academic integrity, and I tell you in the syllabus what will happen if I find that I think someone has cheated or plagiarized on an assignment. For the course, this is important. Obviously, if there's a class cancellation, what's going to happen? Because we still have to kind of hold the class. The government wants that. They have instructional hours. There has to be a certain number of instructional hours. So if the university closes down, or I can't get to class, like I get sick or something and I can't come in and I have to cancel class, then, basically I'll record like I'm doing here, record myself on my computer and upload a video to YouTube, and then I'll make that available to you on Canvas, and I'll send a link to you through email so that you can watch the video, and that will be basically the class meeting, okay? So that's what will happen if class is canceled. Hopefully, let's hope that it doesn't get canceled. See if there's anything else. If I'm late to class, give me 20 minutes. Because I don't know. There might be a dump truck or something that spills over on Route 202. So, but if I'm 20 minutes late, then that should be an indication that class is canceled. Okay, so just so because sometimes people don't know how long do we wait, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, how long do we give them? Hopefully I won't be late, but if 20 minutes late, then you have no obligation to stay. And even if I show up 20 minutes, I'm not going to make you stay. We'll consider the class canceled in that case. Okay. I give you information if you have technology, just all sorts of information. If you have technology issues, yes, you can use your computers. I already mentioned that. Canvas you should be aware of, so check Canvas. A lot of information is already on Canvas already, so you can check that. You should only be contacting me through your Gwynedd Mercy University email. That's how I'll be contacting you. And I give you some information about how long it will take me to contact you in case you're curious. I will make these recordings of the course because I like to do them for myself, but I understand that there's a benefit to them, so I do put them in a playlist on YouTube, and I'll make that link available to you on Canvas. Actually, it's already available on Canvas, so you can start seeing. So if you are absent or something, you've still got the lecture to watch. You can still watch the lecture, and you didn't miss anything. Okay, I give you rules of the classroom, just basic things that we should all know. Hopefully, just just living as social beings. The first thing, if you have, you can use your computer, but please have your cell phone on vibrate or something. I understand if you have to take a phone call or something, or there's an issue, but just take it out in the hallway or something so you don't interrupt the class. I would appreciate if you didn't leave it out. It's just a little bit rude because it kind of indicates to me that you're not paying, that, my presence is not enough for you to still put your phone away and pay attention to me. So I ask that people, put the phone away if you do need it out because you need to look at something like you have a family issue or something that you're doing and you need to see what's going on your phone, then just let me know. If you want to bring food or drink, that's okay. I understand some people are hungry and they don't have time to eat during the day, but obviously if you're making a mess, then you need to clean it up. If you continue to make a mess, I might say no more food or drink. That's okay. But I just wanted to spell out that rule in the syllabus. Probably not in this class. This is more for other classes where, whoops, did I skip over it? Oh, okay. Let me say this first before I go to that. Come to class. Don't come to class high or drunk. Come to class, fully clothed. Don't come to class naked, please. You never know. And then it's not in the syllabus, and then somebody does it. Okay, or has done it. Not a lot, but it's happened. Anyways, and probably not for this class for Christian faith, but you might in some classes hear things that you should be able to speak freely your mind, and okay, but as always in a social situation, we want to do that respectfully, and I'm not going to come down on anyone for their views, whether I agree with them or not. This is not an agreement course. So if you want to tell me you love Jesus, that's great, but it's not going to get you an A necessarily. You still got to do the work. Or if you tell me that, Dr. Dunn, I really don't believe that, that can't be true. All right, fine. But that doesn't mean you're going to get a D, because you made me angry or something or hurt my feelings. No, that's not what it's about. It's a university. You should be thinking. You should be discussing your opinions. And I'm not going to harm anyone for that. And you should feel comfortable to do that, even if other people don't agree with those opinions. So you have to accept as part of it that fact that you might come across something someone says or does that's not agreeable, but try to be, if it's respectful, then that's okay for me. If it's something that's threatening or harmful, then that's not okay. So I try to outline that in the syllabus. All right, there's miscellaneous information that is, I think the major thing to say about the miscellaneous information, and then I'll be done, is, no pun intended. Yeah. Gotta make my own fun. Anyways, is that if you do need an accommodation, like you have a disability or an illness, then please self-identify to the Office of Accessibility Services so that I can accommodate you. I cannot give them out myself. You have to self-identify and give information to the Office of Accessibility Services so they can give you a letter. Okay? And that's it. I guess I'll see you if there are no questions. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, you can go, and I'll see you on Thursday. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
Cool. Thanks. Good day, miss. Yes, miss.
So I have like a couple in my Amazon cart. Which one would be better?
This one this is the one I have. And if you just wanted to do what I did, which is copy the paragraph and stick it in your catechism, it's fine. This one is dubious, actually, I would say, because I actually ordered this one from this seller, and they sent me the wrong one, even though they have the picture on there. So the picture, you can try it, but the picture might be wrong.
What about this one? But is
That one, I don't think so. No, that's an older version. It might even be the second edition, but it's an older paperback version that doesn't have the statement. If you want to write it down, I mean, maybe the easiest thing might be if you can't get it.
Do we read that? Like, do we?
Oh, you're going to read it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby, you're going to read this. Not the whole thing. Not
like that paragraph.
Oh, I don't know. No, we don't read this paragraph.
So I wouldn't even need to put it in.
Ooh. That's a good question. Yes.
That'd be good. I'll read this one.
Yeah, if you want to know about it, talk to me again. But no, you won't be reading.
Thank you. I was just going to ask if you said if we already have a Bible, then we don't have to go out of our way and buy this one.
No, but you can.
But we just need this.
I think you will need that. But if you have your own Bible, yes. If I do, and I do have readings from the other books that are in Catholic Bibles, like the Book of Wisdom or Tobit or something like that. You can find those online if you need to read them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good one.
It's yeah, okay.
Just wanted to make sure. Did I?
Yeah, Holy Bible, New American Bible, Revised Edition. Yes.
And is this correct?
Oh yeah.
Because this one's coming up there.
Yeah.
Take my package.
Here we go. Same
Okay.
one.
Just making sure.
As I told the other lady.
Is it in there?
Oh no.
Oh no.
No.
This is not the new one.
No. It was just one paragraph. What was it? 2267. Yeah. No, it's not. It's just one paragraph that he changed. I don't know why they had to print a whole other book. Yeah, right here. So if you want to, I mean, as I told the other her, in this class, if you just want to find it online and print it out and just stick it in, it's fine. But what's stated here is fine. It's just that Pope Francis wanted to put his view in. So just one paragraph out of all of these that he changed. So no, this should be acceptable.
Is this okay?
Oh, pink. Very nice. Ooh, King James. Oh, very nice.
Is that okay?
It's okay. It's old though. This was done back in the 1600s. So the English is from the 17th century, and also the manuscripts that they based it on were not as good as the ones we have now. So it's generally okay. It might have you. Do you read it a lot? Okay. It might be hard sometimes to understand the English because it is 400 years old English. It's like trying to read Shakespeare. So that might be difficult. And sometimes you might encounter things that are actually in the text that were probably not part of the original text. They were only in the manuscript they translated from it in the 1600s, which is not as good. But it's serviceable. But it's not, you can work with it. Okay. All right. That's fine. Saves you money.
Well, that is a gift. So don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. I understand.
And it's pink.
My first Zoom was pink.
Have a good day. Thank
You too. All right. 8-inch. on. Hello, miss.
Counterarting.
Yes.
Do you want your driver's ed feature? What they must.
Oh, I better turn this off. Forget.